We are live 364 days a year. What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan. Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How do you not get 50 after Monday Night Raw?
What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Thursday, July 17th. We're fresh off All In Texas and the fallout from All In Texas. We're going to break it all down today, and I'm stoked about it. I have a wicked crew hanging out with me. Let me introduce them to you really quick. First and foremost, let's send this one, keep it in the continental United States just to make it easier geographically. I'm going to send it across the country to the DMV. Get your twos up. It's the Tuesday Night Delight on a Thursday, breaking down Dynamite. Shotty, what is good?
What's going on, Clark? It is great to be back, man. It's been a little while, right? We have such a deep roster, just like AEW does out here in the WR. So we gotta fill slots out. But I'm back, man. First show of the week, and I'm excited to talk about Dynamite. So yeah, let's get into it.
Absolutely. I'm always fired up to break down Dynamite. And speaking of, if we're going to break down Dynamite, I don't know many people that know more about AEW or wrestling across the world. I'm going to send this one across the pond, though, to the ever so talented David Sheldon. How are you? Happy Thursday, my friend.
Happy Thursday to you too. Just going to roll my camera down slightly. Hello, very, very excited to be here to talk the first AEW Dynamite after All In Texas. A solid show, I thought, with some really interesting stuff to talk about. Kind of a not so much a reset as it is a continuation of All In Texas, a reminder of the status quo and a understanding of how we can push forward. So an exciting show. Let's get into it.
Absolutely. Let's get right into it. In fact, let's talk about our first topic here. Let's get into a little Hangman Page. A long time coming. And before we talk about what happened last night, I know that's kind of what we're supposed to do. I do want to give credit where it's due because I think it's really interesting to me. We complained about the Death Riders for a long, long time. But I will remember what happened on Saturday, I feel like, longer, with Hangman Page winning the title. And I'm torn in some ways. Like, did this somehow work better than I could have ever imagined? It couldn't have been the plan all along. There's no way. They weren't going to be like, let's make sure everyone's really critical of the title picture for nearly a year and then give the people what they want. There's no way. That I'm not here to believe that. But we did get what we wanted, and man, was Hangman great last night. And let's get into that. Let's talk about Hangman being our new champion here. Shotty, talk to me first, and then I'll get to you next, David.
Yeah, I thought Hangman in Hangman fashion came out with a very fiery promo to start out the show, stamping what he has accomplished, correcting the mistake that a lot of people may say is the Death Riders and Moxley's title reign, and put it on the cape. They're working with DC Comics. He got to be Superman. On Saturday. Got to wear the cape and saved the AEW sickos from this Death Riders kidnapping of the belt. They're talking about the belt, saying that us fans visibly need to see the belt, and thanking counterparts, and the big one, thanking Swerve, man. And I just thought Hangman Adam Page to me is the close to perfect professional wrestler if you can chalk up one. There's not anything that he does wrong. You want to talk about being able to work. He has probably the two best AEW matches on his resume this year. You want to talk about feeling invested into a character. He makes you want to root for him. He makes you want to hate him when he's a heel. Like, he just does stuff. And I think him being this babyface and this savior works out very, very well for the storyline and for what is going on in AEW post Death Rider storyline. Now, the initial promo I thought was great. We talk about the main event as well. coming out and getting a W, man. And we're still getting a bit of a continuation of, potentially maybe he's going to go against Moxley again. Maybe he's going to go against someone else. But it just feels right with Hangman. I don't know how to preface it. Like, it just feels like he is the person that needs to be our champion. And you said, was this the direction that was, set to be when we chalked up and see who's going to be it? In the words of the problematic Kanye West, guess we'll never know.
Exactly. I am with you on that one because, man, bringing back Ghost Town Triumph tickled me, Shad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was nothing short of delightful.
He made you feel like Elmo.
Exactly what I wanted the entire time. I will say this, when it comes to the 6-man tag, I meant to get to that too. We had Hangman, Briscoe, and Hobbs against Claudio Castagnoli, John Moxley, and Wheeler Yuta, the Death Riders. So it doesn't look like Moxley and Hangman's story is over by any means. It's definitely flipped. Obviously, Hangman gets the victory in his return to in-ring action after, his massive win, headline-stealing win at All In. I want to get your thoughts on that match, as well as obviously Hangman as the new AEW World Champion.
Well, I've got to say, I think that it was a pretty strong promo to open the show from Hangman. I think Hangman just has this incredible, indelible charisma that will just bleed through. He is AEW's main character. He is AEW's protagonist. He did a fantastic, fantastic job to open the show and really rally the crowd. It did feel like a little bit of a rah-rah speech that AEW loves to do every so often, but Hangman's probably the best at doing them, and he did a fantastic job. The main event, I thought, was probably the weakest match on the show, through no fault of anybody in the ring. It was a good match. It was AEW Dynamite this week was a lot of good matches, a lot of very sort of solid, strong matches. Without much sort of oomph and fire behind them, just really well wrestled. And this was a well wrestled match. I could have done with a bit with a cleaner finish, either a sort of stronger victory for Hangman or a win for Briscoe, who I felt like they'd set up earlier in the show, kind of needed that win more. But even so, it was a good, strong main event with a solid victory for Hangman, and then obviously the Darby Allin thing afterwards. Interesting to note, Hangman never seemed to look at Darby. Darby was up in the ring and up in the rafters with that sort of haunted, sort of menacing look, and none of the three in the ring seemed to acknowledge his existence as much as maybe they should have. So whether that's teasing something, I don't know. But solid and an excellent promo from Hangman Page.
I agree. And I liked the menacing, old school, almost Sting-like up in the rafters thing, but it is kind of funny. He didn't really get a look. Now that you say it, it's like, no, they didn't focus that much attention. I mean, I love what you said about the
it works so well
too.
it works so well for the venue, like him being
at
the top over there. Like, I was critical on the venue. I don't think the venue was like bad by any means. I think it's definitely different. It just visually out the gate, like just the widespread nature of it kind of didn't pop for me on cam, like during the matches. But with situations like with Darby, kind of just being up there, it works perfectly. And that's my guy, man. I'm so glad he's back.
Yeah, I love the venue. I'm very big on wrestling venues that don't seem like they should be wrestling venues. Like, to me, that looks like a theater. A prime example is I watch a lot of Japanese wrestling, and Dragon Gate run a show. One of their venues, one of their primary venues that Dragon Gate run, is basically in front of this massive stained glass window. And it's like, so all you can see, you can't see the fans who are behind the camera, but what you can see is the massive stained glass window that's there. And even though it doesn't look anything like a wrestling venue, it looks like a church. It's a beautiful venue. And this to me gave me sort of old school theater vibes. Worked very well for Tony Storm, very well for Darby. I liked the bit where the Death Riders were sort of on the red steps. I thought that was quite fun. It's not a wrestling venue really in the traditional sense, but I really enjoyed it.
It's really interesting to me that you say that too, because I think about like Globe Life Park being a baseball park, right? That's non-traditional as far as a wrestling venue is concerned. And I thought they did an excellent job of kind of making it look like it was a wrestling venue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super interested, not to change the subject of WWE at all, but what they're going to do at Petco if they're going to have to lower cages. There's no roof there in San Diego. There is not a roof.
That's a good point. They got to find ways to be creative in this standpoint, right? Like you kind of just gotta assemble it like during the breaks of it.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
I mean, correct me if I mean, obviously, most venues aren't made up to be wrestling venues. They're made up to be football stadiums or
Right,
basketball arenas, or I think of the Electric Ballroom or the Hammerstein Ballroom, which are sort of event spaces. So they're all done differently. It's just this particularly felt a lot more old-fashioned than a lot of other wrestling venues, in which, say, a basketball stadium will still look like a wrestling venue. If you want the true wrestling venue in this world, it's Arena Mexico, which was custom built
that's so true.
It's custom built to be a wrestling venue. It's amazing.
Beautiful.
It's like a coliseum. I would also add, honestly, MGM Grand Garden Arena is built for it was built for boxing, but like where the ring is and everything, it just works perfectly. I can imagine production is like, oh, this is like practically a night off. Everything's convenient. Every single time they run that venue, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Before we get to the next topic, I am very interested to see what is next for the Death Riders in a space where Mox is not champion anymore. I wonder do we get fraction of the group? Does the group break up? It's a lot of it's genuine intrigue, and I know that's crazy to people because everyone's been talking so bad about the Death Riders, but I'm genuinely interested to see what comes next for them.
Yeah, I mean, I was ready to have Moxley go away for a while and sort of sell. Another complaint I have, I don't think either of them sold the Texas Death as well as they could have, particularly Moxley. I mean, Hangman at least had the limp. Moxley had a little plaster on his head, like he'd fallen in school. I was like, you were bleeding buckets like 4 days ago, but no, just a little.
They gave him a Band-Aid.
Plaster.
Come on, man, it's Moxley. It's just a boo boo.
I know. The thing
Renee gave him a kiss on the head, and he's good.
He's probably done worse to himself in his back garden, knowing Moxley. But
they gave him the same Band-Aid they give you as a kid when you get a paper cut.
The only thing I can think for Moxley now is Darby. That's like Moxley and Darby. Have Moxley and Darby had a proper feud?
I don't think so.
Because Moxley's always kind of been face at the same time. I mean, Darby's a career face, but I still want to see the Darby Allin heel turn at some point. Not yet, but at some point, I'm curious with it. But for me, I think Moxley and Darby, have them go and do some stupid things to each other for a bit. Have Gabe come in for Forbidden Door, and Claudio and Yuta. I think Claudio and Yuta just take some time, sort of hang around in that kind of mid-card, sort of upper mid-card position. They're such good, reliable hands, and as you've seen from the way this Dynamite's laid out, reliable hands is exactly what they want, because they fill so many 8-man tags, 6-man tags, 10-man tags. They're just reliable hands, and that's what you want is reliable hands.
Can we finally let Marina Shafir wrestle with some people?
Yeah, she's done squashes on Ring of Honor, and that's about it. It's bizarre. Let's use. I kept waiting for that main event push from Marina. I think the Death Riders has done wonders for Marina, but also, it's just a bit odd, isn't it?
You've built her so strong to a point where even if, like you mentioned, she hasn't had a lot of matches, the character is so strong that you could put her in a main event feud, regardless if she loses, obviously, to someone I think her and Toni Storm character dynamic would be very interesting. Marina being quiet, just a cerebral killer, compared to the Toni Storm character being so off the wall. Stuff like that interests me a lot. And then her and Monet could have been interesting as well, but they're both being heels. But I think her and Toni would have been really something you could have me signed up for.
Yeah. The big thing is that she's not wrestled on Dynamite in nearly 2 months. I mean, she did one Dynamite match, and before that was Anarchy in the Arena, which was Double or Nothing. She wrestled in Defy last month. I'm just doing a quick check here, but mostly it's just been occasional matches on Dynamite, lots of stuff in Defy because she's their women's champion, and squashes on Ring of Honor. So it's not enough. Because she's great.
It's very true. Let's keep it rolling on today's show, though. Let's talk about the Young Bucks no longer being EVPs. Because, man, do I love comedy. And the comedic timing on this stuff was brilliant. from the interview in the basement with Renee, Tony Schiavone can get some heat occasionally. Tony Schiavone delivering the one-liner about, oh no, they're waiting on the pyro at the perfect timing was so golden to me. It was old school. I loved it. They truly paid that off. And I think things like this, going back to like being the elite, are where the Young Bucks really shine when it comes to promo work and outside the ring. They're amazing at stuff like this, and it over delivered in my eyes. I anticipated something. I didn't anticipate the brilliance of like the doing the pose and looking like, where's the fireworks? Where's the fire? It was so good. All of it from top to bottom. But Shadi, talk to me about it.
Yeah, man. I think the Young Bucks are some of the most creative guys in this industry. Like, they are able to reinvent themselves so many times in the last few years. They are far more than just people that have a high work rate. They are guys that have a lot of character to them, and them kind of going heel with the EVPs to, this whole forefathers thing, to now being stripped the EVP titles and everything. Like, just a little, like you mentioned, a little comedic stuff where they kind of gave them the funny Titantron of them kind of losing and whatnot. Then you also got the aspect of, them not getting the pyro, them trying to do the EVP trigger, but not saying it, and kind of like freezing in time, and eventually the move doesn't happen. Like, little stuff like that to the bit shows why they are one of the best in this business and one of the best tag teams of all time. Like, let's not shy away of giving them their credit. These guys are innovators for what they do in the ring, but yeah, they've built so much to it, and I think this is going to be very interesting because it's fresh, it's new. I like stuff like this. I like, to not to go to WWE, but when like Baron Corbin became Broke Corbin, like, to me that was fun. Like, it's a complete 180 to something. The ego trip, the power is gone. It's stripped, and now you get to see how they're gonna overcome all of this. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, we'll talk about the last topic, but there's new EVPs, and I want to see more of it. Even if they don't feud with them per se, I want to see Swerve and Osprey do some like cheeky stuff, man. Like, have them. He got punked out by Ricochet. They got punked out by Ricochet yesterday. Like, stuff like that.
Badly.
Even more stuff, like more. Having them have impromptu matches that kind of make them look like goobers in ways as well. Like, I think a lot of that could be good because that type of character work is always great, man. We see it all across wrestling. I think that's a big reason why people love Dominic Mysterio so much. It's the fact that silliness and goofiness is something that takes you back to a time frame, right? Like, when we were watching like a lot of the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression, you had a lot of like off the wall funny, some controversial, a lot of controversial characters. So
quite a bit of controversial, but some humor in there as well. And I agree. I love the comparison to Corbin. Here's a theory I have though.
Mm-hmm.
And this is interesting. I've wanted to talk about this for a while, and I want to get both your thoughts on this. So they're no longer the EVPs of AEW, but we do know their history with a certain company on the West Coast. One that a certain person has been very critical of. And there's a rec center in Rosita that's available. And I think this leads to the announcement that the Young Bucks have acquired PWG down the road. And that will be their new passion project as a part of AEW. I think they're going to acquire Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. And I think that's the next logical step in this storyline. We don't have Power here anymore, but we'll get that. And there will be some crossover there. I think that's a really good idea. I don't know, David, give me your thoughts on that one.
No, I think that's a cool idea. I like the idea of the PWG. If I could give one major complaint from this show, I promise I'm not just. I like this show. I like this show quite a bit as an episode of TV, but I felt like a lot of the comedy was really, really good. I just wouldn't have had them look so dominant in the win. I was really confused as to why we do the whole show basically setting them up as you said, as goobers that get beat, that have kind of fallen down the totem pole. And then they basically handily beat Bandido sort of 2-1. I know the whole thing. I completely understand why Hechicero did it to get the win over Bandido, but it's the very specific call from Shivani, because Shivani says, I think it was Shivani, says, Bandido was out before the sleeper went in. So the Bucks beat him with the super kick. The Bucks knocked him out, which to me, I feel like kind of reduces the comedy, reduces the fall factor. You want to be able to laugh at them just for a bit. I'm not saying, punk them into oblivion. They're still one of the best teams in the world, and I get they want to show that. But to me, I would have had, if you had to do this finish, do the super kick, and then sort of have, for whatever reason, they're taken out, and then Hechicero wins. So it's made very clear Hechicero has won this match, not the Bucks and Hechicero. I don't know. It's not terrible. It's just like the match was excellent, but it's just like, let's laugh at them a bit more before we get the redemption the other way. I'd have let the Callis thing go a few weeks as well. Like, make it really feel like there is nobody else in this division wants anything to do with these absolutely tyrannical, like, I'm trying to find really hard not to swear, idiots. I'll go with that.
Well, it's like, now that we don't have to answer to you, we're not friends anymore.
Exactly.
Right?
Now the faces the faces are mocking you. The heels don't want anything to do with you. They've got nobody left. I would have had Okada probably turn their backs on them as well and just go, I don't need you anymore, and go like dum bum 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 bum. And then if you want to have Callis or somebody like that come in, then we start the slow build back up the other way. I think it was just all a bit rushed.
Callis is running away with Manager of the Year this year, thoho. He manages everybody.
He manages everybody. And more importantly, he doesn't just manage everybody. He's really good at it. His voice on commentary adds so much to any match that he's in. It's the reason why my favorite manager, genuinely my favorite manager ever, was William Regal when he managed the Blackpool Combat Club, because he'd be on commentary for every BCC match, and he would make the commentary 15 times better by the fact he was there. So that Callis constantly being on commentary, he's a fantastic commentator. Anybody that's ever watched New Japan can tell you that, from back in the day. So he's an amazing commentator. He's an amazing manager. He seems realistic. I love Don Callis. And to be honest with you, does he have too many clients? Probably. But to me, he is, I've said this before, Don Callis is the closest we have ever come to recreating Bobby Heenan. And it's a task that is borderline impossible to do. But if you think about the Heenan family, who had main event level talents, and then he had, I think he managed the Berserker at one point. He'd have talents up there, he'd have talents down there, he'd be all over the shows in all these different places. And I think and he'd be on commentary as well. And I think that's the closest comparison I can say.
I also think by comparison to like a Paul Heyman, for example, when it comes to Heenan, there is this level of like that Don Callis has. Heyman seems to care at times. Callis and Heenan don't care what anyone thinks.
Yeah.
In a way that's like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Heyman's the slimy one because he'll convince you that he's emotionally invested. Heenan and Callis have this brilliance of like, how could anybody possibly trust them? But they continue to get people to do so.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think it's fascinating.
Yeah. I think sorry, go on, Chubb.
No. I just love the fact that his, he stands on business. He hates Kenny Omega now, and he's gonna make sure Kenny Omega has no level of success in the rest of his career in AEW.
That is the truth. All right, guys, let's run some ads really quick, and then we'll keep it rolling here today. Let's talk about Wrestling Republic's Undercard. Subscribe to our second channel. It's Wrestling Republic Undercard. There's exclusive videos, clips, and more sold separately. Grappling for Position, all kinds of great shows over there to check out, as well as short form clips that you can enjoy. It's an awesome channel, and if you like this one, you'll like that one. I promise you that much. Also, do me a huge favor and download the Etsy app on the App Store or the Google Play Store. Doesn't matter what kind of fun you have. Head to the upcoming stream section, and you're gonna love it. You can join a stream and argue with us if you'd like. That is the place to do it. But for today, we're gonna keep today's show rolling here with Tekla. I still haven't decided because I keep hearing it both ways, but it doesn't matter. She wins $100,000. Unfortunately, it's Queen Aminata that takes the pin again, because I think she's the best wrestler that takes the most televised pins in the women's division, maybe on the planet. Like, it's unbelievable. She's kind of Teflon in my eyes. It's like I've just numbed to it at this stage. I don't know how to explain.
She knows how to look really good in defeat. Like,
yeah,
I mean that in the most complimentary way as possible.
I mean, obviously, we also had Willow and Chris Statlander, two awesome talents in this match. But at the end, we get the Julia Hart, Sky Blue, and Tekla raising each other's hands and joining together as a trio, it appears, of sorts. David, I want to get your thoughts on all of it.
I thought this match ruled. I really loved this. I think that all these women are excellent. Obviously, I mean, the level of talent is insane. I want to give Thekla her flowers, massively so. Thekla, because since she's come in from Stardom, her final run in Stardom was wretched. And that's not her fault. She was booked in some awful storylines. It kind of fell to pieces. And since she's come in, you know, to AEW, she's felt like a woman rejuvenated with the right character, with Back to the Toxic Spider. You know, I think that she's done great work. I love all of the different sort of slightly creepy references. Yeah, I'm finding it really, 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 really entertaining. And yeah, fair play to her. I like this little Julia Hart and Sky Blue combination with Thekla, especially after the Casino Gauntlet. Just please, can we have Queen Aminata win some matches? Please. I know Shad wants to say something. I'm going to throw it over to him while I try and work out when the last time Queen Aminata won a match was. So cut over to Shad while I try and find this out.
God, yes, there we go.
Yeah, no, I'm on the same boat. I feel like the presentation of these three women as a unit is something that can really help all of them get to a next level. And I think it's the time. It is the time, AEW. I know a lot of people are very sour on the idea of women's tag team titles. You have the best opportunity to silence the haters, to answer all of the doubts of it. You have done a phenomenal job of just absolutely creating an avenue of a actual division, man, like a actual group of women that have opportunities to be teams, factions, the whole nine. Let's do that. Let's put a Julia Hart in the Sky Blue, a Ty Mello and Anna Jay, like, you know, Megan Bain and Penelope Ford. It's time, man. I really think it'd get a good opportunity to get all these women ample amount of television time, but also you have like storylines that really could be told. And I think they did a great job telling the story. And I think Tekla's just been knocking it out the park since she's debuted. She sticks out. She's so interesting and different. I love, you know, the spider crawl that she does. She's a special talent, so it's going to be cool to see her keep progressing.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. I am super curious. Do you have the
I do have the things. And to be fair, it was 2 weeks ago. It was like two or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, she did pick up one.
She won a match on Collision. She's won a couple on Collision, actually. The last time she won a match on Dynamite would be, if I'm correct, I'm just going to confirm this. I think it's September of last year.
Yeah.
Let me just check if that's correct. Is it correct? Yes, it is. The last time that Queen Aminata won a match on AEW Dynamite would have been in September of last year when she won a tag team match. It was an Aminata and Yuka Sakazaki against Mariah May and Serena Deeb, and they won by DQ after 7 minutes.
Boys, so, I will tell you this. Don't worry. Her time is coming.
I agree.
I have been saying her worth. I know. I have been saying that for 18 months.
I will say this, though. Shad, I agree with a ton of what you said about it's time for these three to really shine. Right. And I mean, Julia Hart, we forget she was a cheerleader. Julia Hart was with the Varsity Blondes. Let's not forget that was a time, that was a space in time that existed. And this is Julia Hart elevated herself, I think, the most of outside of Baby Brody King of anybody in that group. Right. Maybe the argument is her or Brody King.
Oh no, she was. I think she stood out the most when they were a team.
I'd say she elevated herself the most, definitely, because I think Brody was awesome before he joined. Like Brody wasn't at the level of popularity he is now, and we have to stress that Brody. Like, you hear the reaction for Brody on this show, like push Brody King. Like, the crowds love him right now, and deservedly so. He's so over.
It's crazy. My two favorite from that group are those two, and I didn't know a whole lot about Brody King prior to it. I knew it pretty well. Like, he was in ROH prior to that, right? Like,
yeah.
So I remember him familiar a little bit. But of course I knew Alistair and Buddy Murphy prior to it, but like I came across like I think Julia Hart just like she's got such a always I don't want to like diss another wrestler or whatnot, but like kind of what like Alexa Bliss with my mind should be envisioned to be with the whole Fiend stuff. I feel like Julia Hart portrays what I would have rather seen Alexa like there's more a sinister, grim, darkness to how she has been presented. Now it's a little different because we don't have the House of Black. But I think her and Sky Blue kind of like remind me of the what's the movie with the two girls that the God man, it's the horror movie back in the day. The two was it the Shine? Is it The Shining?
Is it
What
The
is
Shining or The
Come play,
Calling?
come play with us, Danny. Is it
Yeah.
that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Shining.
The Shining twins.
Shining.
Yeah.
They remind me of that a little bit.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, that's a great comparison. Other than I do think Julia still, I'm not sure I've fully bought into Sky Blue as being the horror character yet.
I think Julia's too good at it.
I think, and it's not Sky Blue's fault
Yeah.
either. That's the problem. Yeah, Julia is too good at it, where it's like it's believable in a way that
it is slightly fascinating though that we now have a 3-person stable centered around sort of spooky horror in which one of the characters does a crab walk as their primary thing.
Okay, that is a good point. Whoa! That gave me the creeps. Hang on, I didn't even think of that.
That's an even bigger parallel to
I know they're not the Wyatt family, but like
but it's hard
my main thing is that the amount of charisma that Thekla is made the exact right decision with AEW, particularly over. I'd say this over places like Stardom. I think she'd have worked great in WWE as well. But I think she needs somewhere that, because her main selling point is not necessarily that she's a brilliant worker, and she is a good worker. Her selling point is that level of charisma and the facial expressions, and that's the place where,
it's the same. It's like a similar parallel to someone like Rhea Ripley. Like she just looks like a rock star.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Funny enough, she is a rock star. I saw that she's part of a band, but she embodies that like rock star personality. The music, the lights, how she walks out, like with the spider where the camera
she's got all the cliches, right? It's aura, it factor, whatever you'd like to quantify it as, charisma.
Yeah, I'll be upfront saying I didn't think it would work, and I hold my hands up. I was entirely wrong. She's been so much better than I thought she was going to be in AEW, and props to her for that.
Look, the big statement a lot of people made was that they lost Mariah May, Blake Monroe to the WWE. How are they going to fill that void? I think people like her, Megan Bain, Queen Aminata getting more reps. Like the void is filled pretty well, and it may even be a little bit like a blessing in disguise in a way because there creates more avenues. And I thought this past weekend talking about the Casino Battle Royal kind of showed how deep the division is without even using all the women as well. So, I mean, they're in a good place.
I think it's one of those deals, too, where there's plenty of firepower on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
There is. Just do more than one women's match. Just do more than one women's match a week, please. A show, please, Tony. That still seems to not be going anywhere.
Collision got 2, though. Collision got 2.
A Collision, but that's not. It shouldn't be the bench. It shouldn't be the bench. But every show should have 2. Like it's not even funny. Like we've just.
I'm joking. You're right.
To be fair, I've had major issues with WWE's women's division. I know we need to move on, but I've had major issues with WWE women's division. They did an all-women's show on Sunday. They did a fantastically diverse show on Monday. They did a fantastically diverse show on Tuesday, and this felt like this stuck out like a sore thumb to me. And we're back to one women's show, not one women's segment. We had a couple with Tony as well, but one women's match. Tony, you've got to get with the times, mate, because you're gonna be left behind. Even though things are getting a lot better,
not
still
with the I.
TK.
Yeah, sorry, I just got confused because you said with Tony and then you said Tony.
K.
Tony K. It threw me off for a second. I was like, "Whoa, this isn't Tony Storm's fault." Like my brain misregistered when that's my bad, David. I'm sorry, but let's move on to our main event of the evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you're watching this from. We've got Kazuchika Okada with a victory via Rainmaker over, and I want to shout him out. Monster shout out to Rafael Quintero for getting in there and getting Rainmakered. He did what he needed to do there. Don Callis, Swerve Strickland, bringing up the Bucks, all of this. I like the stare down. Swerve looked cool as could be. Swerve, I think, is outstanding. I think it's interesting. The stipulation about the world title for a year thing. I think everyone got scared because we all know what Cody did back in the day. For a second, I like what the Bucks are doing with their part of the storyline now, but I don't mind Swerve not being in the world title picture and just putting on awesome storylines. He's told really good stories that don't necessarily even need the world title for right now. And now that we have it with Hangman, down the road, maybe for them to re-meet would be amazing. If Hangman's going to have a longer run, in my eyes, I'm not sure, though, other than Swerve Okada is almost as good as Okada Omega in my like the way I look at this is like that's a dream matchup. Are you kidding me? These are two of the very best in the world today. And who had it on their bingo card not that long ago that we would have a Swerve Okada match in a big situation down the road? David, you got to be excited about this. I mean, it's just cool.
I am excited. I mean, look, the Okada Omega match, I was not underwhelmed or overwhelmed. I was merely whelmed. I thought it was I thought it was entertaining and well done, but not at the heights of their other matches, which is what I expected it to be, if I'm honest. The Okada Swerve thing, I'm excited. Look, I like Okada's new theme. I'm not sure it fits massively well into Okada's character compared to maybe some other wrestlers on the roster, but it is a really good theme. Obviously, it was a very quick and simple squash, and then a very quick and simple segment to set up. But of all the things on this show, this was the big, okay, this is our brand new direction that we're going in with Okada and Swerve, and I like it. I think the match will be really, really good as long as Okada's got his working boots on, and Swerve is so great that I think they can gel pretty well. Yeah, I haven't actually got a ton to say on this, to be honest, beyond, yeah, I'm excited, and I think that following the All-In Tag match and not having that thing with the world title for a year, I think that we go through this, and then I think Swerve will be back in the world title picture, but all good stuff.
But this is, okay, so here's another interesting factor here. And I hear you on not much to say about it. I think because the world title was in the briefcase, there was a lot of sort of conjecture going into All In when it came to this new unified title is like a second world title. And do we do a brand split? Do we treat it as such? I don't think so. It feels above the TNT title, but below the world title now that it's out of the briefcase. And I'm kind of thrown by that. Right? Because I didn't anticipate what the fallout would look like. And Shad, I'll get your thoughts, but I think then the three of us should sort of break that down too. Because it's a confusing concept the way it's sort of gotten here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the title has to feel important just because arguably the biggest like spectacle match this past weekend leading up to the pay-per-view was Okada, was Omega. Like that rematch showed that, okay, this belt's going to mean a lot because there's a lot of renowned history. This is a belt for the, upper echelon worker. These are two respectable legends in their own rights. This means something. So now he got a win over Kenny Omega. It's also the fact that he beat somebody of Kenny's magnitude at the pay-per-view. So Okada got the juice right now. He feels like a very important figure. And to that point, you can't go down. You have to only go up or stay in the same range of superstars who you can feud with. I thought the build to it was very logical. He's upset. They stripped powers from his boys, part of the, elite. And, he has some words to say. And Swerve coming out, just saying, what you gonna do? B word too. And that alone, like not a lot to it. Just, a couple potty words thrown at each other and a mere, face off. I think that gets you excited. Swerve, if he's not gonna be in the world title picture right now and be away from Hangman, got no problem with that. You have to, this is the thing. Their division is like crazy stacked. Like the men's division is absolutely insane where guys aren't going to be able to all compete for that world title. There isn't like a definitive mid-card picture, to be real with you. Like they just have a lot of guys who are main event talents. And that's a lot of the where, frustrations like, well, he's being underutilized. I don't know if it's underutilization. It's just you got to wait your turn kind of a case. And, it can be a thing that people might not be happy about. But you look at the entire board right now. Someone like Bobby Lashley, that's a main event talent. He's covering the tag division right now. Okada, legend, he's holding that belt, right? Dustin Rhodes is a little different, but prior to that, it was Adam Cole, who's also looked as a main event type of guy coming into AEW. Their division is just that stacked, and we're going to run into situations like that. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I think it makes the product a lot more better. And also to Okada's theme, I didn't like it. Okay, I ain't like it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't try to fix it. All right.
I was gonna say the same thing, but I just didn't want to be too harsh. Nor do I really have the energy to. But I was like, "What's all the hype about? Like this, the old one was good, and
His old one is great. I think that's the thing. It's like you have such a amazing theme to go to this. It felt very odd. I don't know. It just maybe I have to get used to it. But look, I keep the same energy. Death Rebel, did you sneak your way into All Elite Wrestling?
I mean, I'll push back on the Death Rebel thing because at the very least I'll be able to recognize whose theme this is.
Yes.
Whereas
Rainmaker.
Yeah. Yes. Oh God, I remember. Bam, 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 bam. Like it's my favorite thing was still this year's Royal Rumble when I was there going,
who is this? I was in the building doing the same thing, David. It was worse.
I still think Zelina Vega's theme song is a SmackDown
David, I was in the
song.
venue doing the exact same thing.
Good grief! I mean, yeah, I think it's fascinating because, like, as you going back to your point, Clark, like Swerve Strickland as the new challenger for Okada, like they are treating this title seriously. They are treating it with respect, and I appreciate that. I mean, I do wish that this show had done a bit more in setting up the world title challenger as well, just so that we could sort of have both of those done. I mean, I suppose the challenger in a sense is MJF, who cut a fantastic promo on this show, by the way. A really, really outstanding promo. It's like, yeah, we got main event Max back. Yeah, I love my Max Friedman. But to me, it's just like we've got a really strong and clear direction now for this unified title. I just wish we had a little bit more, particularly in the world title scene, so that we could say, okay, this is kind of the level, this is where we're at, we can kind of gauge it. Because what I'm worried about is that we go through the Swerve feud, which is great, and then we just start to slowly go back to trotting down again. But the thing with Okada is you kind of have to have strong challengers for him because otherwise he won't try. So you like you've set the benchmark now. Okada, Swerve, Bailey, Pac. That's the level of challenger you've got to have in this title.
Bushi match was good too.
The Bushi match was great. So it's like we've got to kind of stay at that level now and don't start to dip.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that.
One thing before we go, to those who this is the thing, right? I think the temperament of people coming into AEW, there's unfair criticism. I don't care what nobody says. I'm gonna call BS when I see it. Everyone was like, well, Okada's ruining his career going to AEW, and he's not going to be booked like he's in the... Look how good he's being booked now.
Yeah.
Oh, they're making him a meme character.
Yeah, he was booked differently. And this is the problem that I'll say. People who are complaining that Okada sort of thing did not watch Okada in New Japan, who 75% of the time sleptwalked his way through. You only saw the matches on the Wrestle Kingdoms where he finally tried, or the G1 finals, or the New Japan Cup
not
finals.
To mention, they didn't watch him in TNA either.
Kato. No,
yeah,
it's like watching him and Evil. Well, I was sort of boring matches I've ever sat through in my life just to get to the good ones. But you don't see any of that. All you see is the big ones. They complain.
And also, it's a weekly television show. There has to be I don't know, man. He's doing great though. Salute to Okada. I'm excited for him and Swerve genuinely. So yeah.
I am too. I'm all over it. With that, though, that'll bring us to the end of today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back same time, same place tomorrow. That's noon Pacific. That's, of course, 3 o'clock on the East Coast, 8 o'clock in the UK, and 9 a.m. for my friends in Hawaii. On behalf of me, Shad, and David, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will talk to you soon.